Hello Hub, I hope you're doing well. Great to have you back if you've been here before. If you haven't, I'm Roz and this is Make Do Mend. So in today's video, it's a bit of a strange one. Over the last few days I have been working on a new project, a sewing project, and the results haven't been completely successful. But let me show you what I've been up to. So I've been making these little lined baggies with a very cute little charm on the zipper. I've made 3 of them to varying degrees of success, all using patchwork fabric that I've pieced together using bits from my scraps box. But yeah, like I say, there's been varying degrees of success. So this video is by no means going to be a tutorial. In fact, I'm going to do a voiceover in the edit where I'm just going to talk to you about a few things that have been on my mind, things that I've been mulling over, thinking about, struggling to reconcile in my own head. Yeah, I just thought I'd take you on a little bit of a journey and tell you a little bit of a story while you watch me going through the process of making. It was actually this one that I was making in the footage that you're going to watch while I'm talking in the voiceover. And out of the 3 that I've made, this is the worst one. This one really didn't work. I was so cross. It's too small. The corners don't line up. Oh, it was a mess. But because YouTube is, after all, a video sharing platform, I've got to give you some kind of visuals rather than just listening to my voice with nothing to watch. So yeah, this isn't going to be a tutorial. The tutorial that I followed to make this bag, of these bags, I'm going to link in a playlist in the description box below. If you've been here before, you'll know that I like to make playlists to accompany my videos, YouTube playlists, Spotify playlists. So this time is absolutely no different. So I'm going to absolutely put the tutorial in for how to make one of these zip bags and how to make the little charm here that I've kind of modified the pattern. But yeah, I hope you will stick around and listen to me ponder things like career changes and drought and finding a way to be happy. Anyway, I'm going to leave editing Roz to tell you a little story while I show you the wonderful fun that I had making a mess of these bags. I learned a lot. At the end of the day, it was not a waste of time because I know where I went wrong. I know how to fix it for next time. So it was a worthwhile endeavour, even though it cost me 2 sewing machine needles, a plate, and what little is left of my sanity. It was still a worthwhile endeavour. I still had fun and I learned a lot. So anyway, I'm going to stop gabbling on now and let Editing Roz tell you the rest.
Thanks for the intro in real life, Roz. Do you think maybe next time you could remember to use a microphone when you're talking to the camera? Just a thought. Anyway, who would have thought it? Video number 13. Unlucky for some. Maybe unlucky for me. We'll see, won't we? By the end of this video, how many of you are still left watching? Oh, you might be thinking, have I got time to sit at my sewing machine for hours and hours on end, making mistakes, getting frustrated, breaking needles, all the rest of it. Well, if you caught video number 10, you'll know that I'm currently out of work by choice. What you won't know is why. And that's because I struggle to articulate it. I haven't told you. I haven't really been able to articulate it to people who I know in real life very well. And so maybe talking it through with you will help me come to terms with the reason why, the justification. Because a lot of the time, all I feel is guilt and shame. Guilt because I know that there are a huge amount of highly capable and competent people out there who don't have a job, who are actively seeking work. And of course, there are countless other people who are working in jobs that they're really unhappy in, but they're stuck. They don't have a choice. Financial obligations sometimes mean that people can't escape. And so I feel really guilty because I'm quite lucky, very privileged to have that choice to step away. And shame because I worked bloody hard to get into the job that I just left. I put myself through uni when my kids were both babies, really, and I was newly single. First class honours degree through bloody grit, sweat, and tears. Started in entry level jobs and worked my way up, always in the same sector for well over a decade now, and reached a position where I was in middle management and thriving, feeling like I'd made such progress. Throwing that away feels a little bit shameful, a little bit like a waste sometimes. So why? Why did I do it? Because I was burned out. Like so many other people, I started to realise that the scope of my role had grown. In order for our business to remain competitive in the market, we had to start offering new products and services. And that's totally fine. It's understandable. It's good business sense, right? But I started becoming responsible for areas that I had zero experience of, very, very little knowledge of, and no confidence in. And it really ate away at me. And because I had line management responsibility, there were a team of people who I really respected, who looked to me for advice and for answers. I just couldn't give them. Every time a new issue cropped up that I didn't know how to fix, it chipped away at my self-esteem, my confidence, my belief in my ability to do the job. And eventually it got to a point where there were so many moments where I would sit behind my laptop with my head in my hands and just cry, thinking, I don't know how to do this anymore. I'm not supporting those who need my support because I don't have the answers. I just feel like this job has outgrown me. Like I just no longer capable of doing it. I really tried for a long, long time to learn, to grow, to change, to gain more knowledge, to seek more experience so that I could feel more capable and competent again. But no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I could no longer be the person that the business needed me to be. So it was time. We really had reached a point where it wasn't serving anyone for me to keep pretending that I could do it. Tense was too hard to keep up. I just had to acknowledge the fact that it was time for me to step away. Since then, my confidence hasn't quite come back. I think I assumed for a very long time that I'd stay in that same role forever, or at least until I retired. I really did believe that. But because of the experience I had of no longer feeling capable of doing something that I really used to enjoy and used to be bloody good at, now I kind of don't know what I want to do anymore. I don't know what I can do anymore. I'm almost as stuck as I was before I left my job. I look for jobs online at least once, usually twice a week. And I sit and read through job descriptions that sound really good. There are jobs out there. But as I'm reading through the person specification, I'm constantly thinking, I don't think I could do that. I don't know if I would be capable. It's almost like my confidence has been chipped away at so much that I don't feel like I can really do anything worthwhile. It's really crap. Now, I do know that the next job I find, I really want it to be something that I can feel a sense of pride in, that I can feel like I can do it, like I can succeed in it, like I can make a positive impact. That's what I really want to be able to do, to have that feeling again that I'm turning up to work and I'm making a positive difference. It's really hard knowing what the hell that looks like. But I have to do it. I have to find it, and pretty quickly, because while I'm not financially destitute just yet, it really isn't going to be long before I start thinking, how the hell am I going to pay the mortgage? So yeah, it's scary out here. It's tough not feeling capable, particularly if you've already got depression, which, again, if you've been here before, right from video number 1, you'll know is something that features quite a lot in my story. I'm feeling a little bit all dried up, like the colour has drained from me, like there's a new line on my face every time I look in the mirror. I feel like I'm going through a bit of a drought. Which is a coincidence, really, because the UK is actually facing drought conditions. It's been such a long time since we've had a single drop of rain. All the grass has dried up. All the plants that I bought in the springtime and planted out in my garden are pretty much dead by now. I think I feel a bit like that grass. Parched, dry, dull, in need of some rain. That's how depression can feel sometimes. Well, at least for me. Being out of work, having all this time on my hands, worrying about how I'm going to pay the mortgage next month, it's not helping. Not one bit. I know, because I've done it, that the very worst thing I can do is just sit on my backside, feeling despair, not doing anything productive, getting all wrapped up in my little blanket of depression and doing nothing. That's not good for anyone. It's certainly no good for me. So I'm choosing to make stuff. Even though I'm not great at it all of the time, even though I make mistakes, I'm choosing to to make things. And it's helping to make me feel a little bit happier. Grass is quite a hardy plant, a lot hardier than we give it credit for. It can go through drought and look like it's completely dead. But after a few drops of life-giving rain, it can spring back into life, can start turning green again, can keep growing. That's what I'm trying to do. By sitting behind my sewing machine, making mistakes and learning valuable lessons, I'm watering myself. I'm allowing myself to get better, to feel capable. It's like I used to at work. It hasn't been easy the whole time I was in the job. There were always challenges, but I was able to get through. I had the resilience to get back on the horse. And that's what I'm doing here with my sewing projects, my crochet projects, my many other projects that I've got on the go. I'm not afraid to make mistakes and to have to start again. Sometimes you need to go through a drought so that you can appreciate the rain. I'm not sure I'm making sense now. It's all getting a little bit too deep and metaphorical, but I hope you're following the story so far. As you'll know, if you've been here before, I love making things. I particularly love making patchwork. As you saw from video number 11, where I made a whole dress out of patchwork. I'm actually making the fabric that I used to make these little zip bags from patchwork that I'm constructed using the exact same approach I did with the dress. I'm cutting 2.5-inch strips, I'm sewing them together, flattening out the seams by doing a bit of a zigzag stitch, putting some interfacing on the back. And what I'm using is scrap fabric from my good old scraps box. This little bit of orange starry fabric came from a piece that I purchased on a whim when I was out with my mum. I had no idea what I was going to do with it when I bought it, but it just spoke to me. It features quite heavily in a couple of quilts that I made for my lovely little poochies, Ginger and Coco. It's a good few scraps of batik fabric, which, yes, I made the dress from in video number 11, and I originally bought that fabric to make the pentagram quilt that I talk about in nearly every video I make. I'm really proud of that one. And we've got some bits of Ankara fabric that I used to make a quilt for the other half as a Christmas present. This is a bit of fabric that I've had for years and years, literally. It's a 1970s, I reckon, vintage bedsheet that I made my first ever dress out of back when my son was only about 2. He's 19 next month. I've also got some of this framed, hanging in my living room on the wall. I just really love it. And this bit here is a far more recent fabric acquisition. I used some of this to make a drawstring bag for my sister's birthday present a few weeks ago. Remarkable, isn't it? How fabric can hold memories. That's why I love patchwork. That's why I love taking scraps from previous projects and bringing them all together so that when you look at the finished piece, you can see all of the joy, all of those moments where you were with someone that you loved, buying fabric, or making a gift for someone that you loved. Fabric is so special in that way. At the risk of repeating myself, I mentioned that in video number 11. The fact that life can feel like a piece of patchwork at times. Lots of little strips, lots of moments of memories all stitched together. I also mentioned how terrifying it can be cutting into all of that once you've pieced it together. Leaving a job that you used to feel good at can feel like you're taking a rotary cutter to your work life. Experiencing depression can feel like cutting into memories and moments of joy. Stitching it back together into something new, into something that serves a purpose. It's really quite exciting. Even if you make mistakes along the way, have to go back and unpick things. If you sew a line a little bit wobbly, or your fabric doesn't quite fit in the way you thought it would, it's frustrating. But it teaches us lessons. It helps us move forward. It helps us grow. It's all worthwhile in the end. I most certainly didn't expect to break a plate while I was working on this sewing project. As I was pulling the ironing board out of the cupboard, I knocked a plate that had been hanging on the wall. Looking for the silver lining, it could have been far worse. I could have knocked off the plate that hung underneath this decorative plate. That's one that my beautiful little girl made when she was only 6 years old at her birthday party. She's going to be 21 in a couple of weeks. Sometimes in life, we have to break things. It's crap if we break something that we really, really love. But that's what happens. If you're lucky, you can glue them back together. That's what I'm going to do with this plate. To remind me that being broken doesn't mean you have to throw something away. You can mend it. That's what I'm going to do with this plate. Hang it back on the wall, pride of place, cracks and all. And these 3 little bags, these prototypes, these unperfect examples of how not to do it, I'm going to hold on to these too. I'm going to make use of them, and I'm going to make more. I am going to find a job eventually. One that I can feel good at. One where I can make a difference. I'm going to get out of this drought. I'm going to feel the rain again. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep making. And I'm going to keep doing. Because that's the only way I'm going to mend. Anyway, that's the end of my little story. And the end of what was a very, very strange video. Well done if you made it to this point. God knows if I made any sense. I really hope I did. And I hope that you don't feel as though it was a waste of time watching this video. Hope it might have given you a little bit of reassurance if you find yourself working in a job that you just don't feel capable at anymore and longing for change. Or maybe you're feeling a bit dry and parched, like you're in a drought, like you're desperate for some rain. As a reminder, if you are interested in following a tutorial on how to make a bag like this, the one that I followed is in the playlist linked in the description box below. There's a few other videos in there too, things that have made me smile for different reasons. They're not all crafting videos, they're just things that have felt like raindrops on the driest of days. There's a Spotify playlist too. Again, it's songs that I have enjoyed for different reasons. Maybe it could be the perfect soundtrack to your next crafting project. I shall be off now then. Thank you so much for being here. Come back again. Can't tell you when the next video will go live, but there's already one in the makings. Join the hub. Please subscribe. Our lovely little hub of subscribers is growing. I'd love you to be a part of it. And above all else, make and do and mend. Take care, man. Love you loads.